but I saw it and I just thought, okay, I have to get that. Even if I'm only going to wear it to the conventions, I have to wear it. And then I have to become a comic book hero. Just store my water. Here we go.
Thank you for joining us. How was your trip in?
Good, good. I've never been to Wisconsin before, let alone Madison. And, hey, I'm getting better cheers than any of the candidates for the primaries. It's great. Fantastic, yeah. It's lovely. As we flew over, because I didn't have a clue where we were coming to, what I was going to expect. And just coming over the water and then looking down, and the houses here are so beautiful. Just gorgeous wooden cladded houses. I just had no idea. Cold, very cold. Wasn't expecting that either. But it's lovely. I'm really happy to be here.
What's your scale for love of cheese? Is it like, from mild to obsessive? Like, where are you at with your love?
Is this the state where they wear those cheese? I'm in this place.
Someone get her cheese in the hat.
No, put it under my hair. Over my head. So does that mean, is it the Green Bay Packers? Is that... Okay, now I know where I am. I like cheese.
Before we jump into all the fun and craziness of the past few years, tell us, how did you get into acting, and what was the journey of just getting into all this?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, and I think this probably applies to majoritively whatever profession one goes into at the end. If you look back at how you were as a younger person or as a child, there's normally, if you look back, you can probably see a sort of hint at you going in that direction. You know, whether you're a carpenter and you're a kid, or a mechanic and you're a kid who's always tinkering around with things, under your mum's sink, or whatever it is. I think everybody actually already has the threads of what they end up doing within them, even as children. And so certainly that was the case for me. I didn't consciously think I wanted to be an actor at all. In fact, I first of all wanted to be a flight attendant, and then I wanted to be a barrister, which is an English lawyer. But barristers in England wear these fantastic capes in court, and they wear these amazing wigs.
In Wisconsin, though, you said baristas.
Baristas.
No,
Barrister. And I played a lot. I loved being a child, and I really, in a way, I didn't want to grow up. Even when I was a kind of teen, I still was very still a child, really. So when I realised that the other professions I wanted to do actually weren't about the profession, it was just about the dressing up. That's sort of when I started to think maybe it was about the costumes and about the drama of those careers, as opposed to actually what those careers involved. So that's when it sort of occurred to me that maybe I wanted to be an actor. But having said that, I think the one key element that actually sort of pushed me on my way to daring to believe that this is what I could do was my English teacher. And again, I think a lot of people, if they look back, will see that there was somebody who may have influenced them. And certainly, if it wasn't for my English teacher, Miss Kirk, who really supported me in, and she could see as well that it was something that I was sort of like going towards. And I was at a very academic school, and I wasn't particularly academic. And she gave me the encouragement to believe that actually I could take that step and try to be an actor.
Well, you played some tremendously iconic roles, but before all that, were there any roles that were, let's say, maybe embarrassing that you look back on, or anything that was so like small or weird, or what stands out as that you look back at the beginning years?
Okay, well, so when I was first starting, when I was still at school, and my teacher, Miss Kirk, she would cast me in everything we studied in English. We would turn into a dramatic piece. So whether we were doing Dickens or whatever we were studying, she would some way turn it into a drama that and I was at a girls' school, so it was always girls playing all the roles. And she would always give me the lead, which I was very happy about. But alongside that, I had a little drama club that I went to, and it happened that the woman who ran the drama club was also somewhat of an agent. I didn't realise that at the time, because in England I didn't know what an agent was or anything. But so she would put us up every now and again for jobs. And I went up for a job on a TV show. I was 15. A TV show in England, which was it was a children's program, but it was set in a school, and it was about kids in school, and it was called Grange Hill. And I auditioned to be a judo bully, and I'd never done judo in my life before, and the agent just said, "Oh, just wing it, just say you're some belt colour." And so I didn't know. So when I went for the audition, they said, "Do you do judo?" I said, "Yes, I do." And what belt are you? And so I just randomly picked a colour. I didn't have a clue. And so I said, I'm green belt. Well, green belt isn't black belt, but it's like only a couple of colours below black belt. And there are a whole load of colours before green belt. And I got the job. So, so I literally only had about a month before filming, and I went to judo class every other day after school. And actually, by the time we started filming, I'd gotten to orange belt. So it was really, it's good. But I don't know, you can probably see it on YouTube. There are pictures of me acting very badly. And my hair, do you think my hair is big now? Oh my God. Hang on, I've just got to show you what my hairstyle was. It was so unattractive. It's awful. So I'd say that's actually one of the really embarrassing moments of mine in terms of my career. Yeah.
Any chance we can get a martial arts demonstration?
I don't know, maybe. Except you probably sue me if I do something wrong.
Well, we loved your role on ER. What was it like to play a role that's so reliant on medical terms and procedure and just, all that?
I had such a good time on that show. I didn't really know much about it because I didn't watch television then. I was busy working in theatre back in England, and so I sort of television wasn't part of my life then. I was aware of the show, and I was aware that it was a successful American show, but I didn't really appreciate how big of a show it was and how groundbreaking it was in many ways. But when I joined, I kind of, in a funny way, because I didn't know how big the show was, I wasn't freaked out, because I think actually if I had known, I would have probably been really, really intimidated by joining. But I kind of wasn't. I sort of just went into it. The first episode I did was the live episode, and so they were all freaking out because doing it live was almost like doing live theatre. But because my background was live theatre, I was so chill. Even if I say so myself, I was up against George Clooney, but I'm so chill. But I loved my time on that show because going into work every day, particularly if we were working in the OR or in the ER, just learning all of the sort of just medicine that was coming our way, medical procedures. I learned how to crack a chest. I learned how to sort of massage a heart, and just amazing things that. And when you're working alongside real doctors and consultants who are monitoring you every step of the way, so everything you do is correct. It was, alongside being an amazing acting opportunity, it was a sort of an incredible gift of just being taught how the medical field and how hospitals function in this country.
Was it hard to inadvertently give medical advice and to kind of diagnose people just in your personal life?
You know what? I kind of didn't. Whenever you'd hear, because it happens so frequently on an airplane, is there a doctor on board? And I'd get people looking at me like this. I never put my hand up. I didn't. But I did feel kind of quite confident. I did sort of feel like, yeah, I could give me a scalpel, I'll open it up, I'll give you an injection, I sort of did feel that very confidently that I could do those things. Thank God nobody let me. But the one thing I did take away from it, and actually I still do this, up until working on ER, certainly back in England, going to the doctor, anything like that, I never asked questions. I always sort of would sit there, tell the doctor what was wrong with me, and then just listen to the diagnosis. And even if I was kind of a little bit confused by what they were saying, I never felt I had the confidence to sort of say, sorry, can you just repeat that? Or hang on a minute, but. And after I worked on ER, the one thing I really was adamant about, and I sort of drilled this into my parents and to my friends, I absolutely say, always ask questions. If you don't feel satisfied with the answer, don't just go away feeling unsatisfied. It's your right and your duty to keep on asking questions and make sure you're getting the right diagnosis. And I feel that so strongly because I think a lot of people don't ask those questions and then get misdiagnosed.
Very much knew about Doctor Who and the magnitude of that. So, what was that like in contrast to ER? What was it like stepping into that part?
It's funny because you say that, but again, I kind of didn't. Because I was in LA working when Russell T Davies rebooted the show. And I knew about it. I knew Chris Eccleston had done, had sort of renewed the life with, he was the first Doctor in the reboot. And I knew then that it had moved on to David.
Cheer-free zone, so just go.
Yeah, cheer-free zone. But all of those things were happening while I was living in LA. And so, I didn't really understand how huge it was. I kept getting people telling me, oh, it's great, it's amazing. But I didn't watch it. Because at that point, I didn't even know whether it was showing in the States. It certainly wasn't on BBC America in sort of like in the way that it is now. I think people will have heard this story if they looked at any YouTube clips of questions. I had been asked to do a role before River Song. I'd been asked to be, is it called the mother in the adipose episode?
All you need to do is just start putting out names.
Yeah. So I was offered that role, and I had to turn it down because I was working. I was not available. But I could see already just from reading that episode that the writing was good. It was obvious. It was charged, and so I knew, and I had a sense, and my agents were going, Dr. Who's huge in England. It's a really good thing to get onto. So when they then came back, I guess it was 6 months, a year later, I can't quite remember, with this 2-episode story arc with this character River Song. I read it and just well, I read it, I burst into tears, and then I thought, I better do this.
Was the character really fully formed as we know her, or did it sort of evolve from that point on?
No, I would think it's fair to say she evolved from that point on. I mean, the confusion that David's doctor has with River in those episodes was the confusion I felt playing her because I didn't know who the hell I was or what was going on, and Stephen was not telling me. Yeah, and certainly when I died, I thought that was it. I thought I died. Certainly the seeds were already sown in those episodes for that character. And Stephen has always said his intention was always to bring her back. And even Russell T. Davies has said Stephen would not have invested so much in a character like that with so many mysteries if he hadn't have intended to bring her back. So it was a really good sort of fertile ground in a way, those two episodes, on which the character, for which the character to grow in, really. Yeah, it was good.
That's fantastic.
Sorry, by the way, I haven't seen David since we shot those two episodes. And so you're all going to be here this weekend when, in like an hour or so, he's arriving. It's the first time. First time I've seen him since then.
So we're going to, just a moment, we're going to take audience questions. There's mics here at the front of the aisle, so please line up. But you have the very distinguished, you're part of a distinguished club of working with multiple doctors. And so, especially just recently with Peter Capaldi as well. And so, tell us, can you, in a brief sort of way, share how unique it was to work with each doctor? Like, what was a unique attribution of each of them?
Well, they are all the same person, you do realise that. It's different. It's, you know what's so interesting, because it's almost like the doctor is schizophrenic. Because it's the same man. But, you know, every time he sort of renews himself, sheds that skin, becomes a new person, there's another facet to his personality, to his makeup, which is really interesting. And he's becoming more, in a fun sort of ways, not that he's more fully formed, but he's becoming more complex every time, which I think is really interesting. They're all, oh my goodness, I mean, okay, David to me was, I mean, he had been playing the Doctor already. I think it was his 5th season that was it the 5th season? The 4th? Okay, 4th. But he'd already been the Doctor for a long time, had established himself, you know, was working extremely hard. And so David was very contained. And I haven't worked with him in anything else, so I don't know whether that is how he is as an actor. But he, you know, was contained, sort of preserved his energy because his performance was so sort of frenetic. That's quite exhausting. And so, yes, very, very focused, never got a line wrong, ever. Never had to do a retake because he fluffed his lines or anything like that. He was always word perfect. Matt, I would say, Matt, I would call it the rock and roll years. Yeah. Clumsy.
All blur.
All of that. Clumsy. The number of sonic screwdrivers he broke. You know, he would touch something on the TARDIS and it would come off in his hand. I mean, it was quite extraordinary. But definitely rock and roll. I I will say no more. And Peter, in a funny way, was the one who I was the most intimidated meeting, because I know Peter from his prior acting experience and his history, in the thick of it. He is an amazing actor, very, very sharp, fast, so I thought I would be meeting my match in Peter, but he was so lovely. He was a little fried because he'd had a very, very intense, dark season before we shot the Christmas special, and so he actually was thrilled and relieved to be able to just do some screwball comedy with my character. So yeah, he was lovely. I'd like to work with him again for sure. Let's hope.
We're going to our questions. For this favor, just keep them brief and succinct.
I've got to stop talking. I talk a lot, so I'll keep my answers.
No, you keep talking. You keep talking. Yes, go ahead.
River and the doctor had a child. What would their name be?
I think I have to keep that one to myself. Maybe if it was a boy, it could be called Hugh.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to know, based on you've already worked with Matt and Karen and Arthur, what kinds of genres or roles would you like to see all of them in?
I know you.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't say that. You've got to repeat the question. Oh my God, it's my two teachers.
Is there a restraining order?
Hello. Say it again.
Did you want to repeat it?
Yes.
So you've worked with Matt and Karen and Arthur obviously a lot, and you've seen them do different types of acting in those roles. Are there any genres or roles that you would love to see them in the future?
Them.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, well, Karen, as we know, she's doing, right now, she's shooting the second Guardians of the Galaxy. And she has, I think, a lot more stunt stuff to do in this one, which, she's kind of like a big colt. I see her always like a baby horse, you know, who's got long legs and doesn't quite know how to function with them yet. But I'm thrilled that she's got some more stuff to do. I know Matt, he did, Pride and Prejudice, and also he did the musical, didn't he? American Psycho, which I didn't see. Arthur, of course, is doing Legends of Tomorrow. I think Karen, because she also did The Crucible, which she did a pilot for a version of The Crucible for HBO, playing one of the girls, and that then didn't get picked up. But I think Karen would be very good in something that's sort of a period piece, a historical piece. I think she'd be very good at that. Of course, she wants to direct, so I'd love to see some of her directorial projects. Arthur's great at comedy. I'd like to see him just do more of that. He's really good at that. He's got fantastic timing, and he's an amazing musician, a brilliant pianist and guitar player, obviously. Matt's already done quite a lot in different genres. Probably, let's put them all in a Shakespeare play. Let's put them in Twelfth Night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, can you tell us the secret that you have with you and the Dr. Screwdriver?
No.
They're just trying to trap you here in Wisconsin.
I know.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, teacher two.
Hello. I was wondering, what's one thing you know now that you wish you had known when you were starting out or kind of starting to become successful?
Oh gosh, do you mean in life or you mean in this career? Whatever. What I wish I knew then that I know now? Yes, okay. I would say probably, although I'm saying this now being happily married, but one thing I wish I had known when I was starting out, when I was younger, is, particularly if you're a woman, is that this profession is incredibly hard to balance marriage and family if you want to have a career as an actress. It's really tough because it takes you away from your family all the time. And I think when you're young and sort of, you know, narcissistic and just, it's all about me, and what I want to do, you don't ever really think about the reality of what your life could be. So that's probably the thing that I wish I knew then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
In ER, I was curious whether you were cast specifically as a British doctor, or was there ever a question that you'd have to be an American character and speak an American accent? And just wondered how your American accent is.
Well, you know, this is going to be a really rather interesting answer because I was not aware of the politics going on within ER at the time. I was cast after I had done, or after it was screened in America. I'd done a show called More Flanders, which was a series in England. And there was this rumour that sort of started to generate while I was on ER, that actually I was cast because they were looking for a love interest for Dr. Benton. And now this could be an urban myth, but it certainly was a rumour that got to my ears while I was on ER. But that I was cast because the producers thought I was black. But that I was British, and that is why I had been cast to be the love interest of Dr. Benton. And I don't know if that rumour is true or not, but I know the rumour is true, but I don't know whether that is the truth.
Had they not seen black people before?
Well, but it's interesting because I got letters from people of different ethnicities asking me what my heritage was, what my ethnicity was. So it became quite tricky. And actually, Eric, he was like, that's what they were looking for, and you obviously aren't. And then, even though we got on extremely well together, he was very conscious that he wanted to be seen to be in a healthy relationship with that character, and having a healthy relationship with a woman of colour as opposed to a white woman. And it was very important to him, and he felt that it needed to be expressed. And so I had sort of come into what had been a little bit of a political SHIT storm. But it sorted itself out because I loved working with Eric. We had a lot of fun, and my character was much more feisty then. And the minute that we had to end that relationship for political reasons, I then sort of had to kind of dull my character down in order for her to be seen to be with Mark Green. Because if I'd stayed as feisty as I was, then she would have had him for breakfast. So there was a lot. It's funny because you create a character, and then all of a sudden, because of politics, you have to sort of do a 360 with your character, which is quite tough. But yeah, it was kind of strange.
It's fascinating. Thank you so much. Yes, go ahead.
I would like to know, as one curly girl to another,
Yes.
how you achieve your perfect hair. Do you have a hair routine that you recommend?
Well, I have a curling iron. I take that with me because my hair gets, depending on the moisture in the air, my hair will get very frizzy, and so I will use a curling iron. Do you want to go and take a break while I'm... and products. I'm always researching hair products because there's never one that's perfect. Right now I'm using a brand called Ouidad, which is Ouidad, and that's quite good. That was recommended to me by one of the hair and makeup artists on the show I was working on. So yeah, it's kind of trial and error, but don't give up.
Thank you. All right, yes, go ahead.
Hi. So there are a lot of theories going around with neck structure video, and I support that for one. But what do you think of that, and how do you think that will affect doctor?
Oh gosh, I kind of feel like Donald Trump now. I don't know whether I agree. To be perfectly honest, I know the doctor changes his appearance, but essentially I feel that he's a Gallifrey and Time Lord, and I don't know. I know River Song has had wives, so. In essence, I think. Sorry, ladies, but I do think that the doctor should stay male. Nobody's going to come to my line afterwards.
Part of a broader issue is, unfortunately still, as far as we come in Hollywood, we don't still see as many leading heroine roles as we'd like to see. It's starting to change. We don't see it, but we should, but it's starting to change. When you go after roles, when you play such strong characters, what do you kind of look for in these roles as you represent?
Well, the truth is, for example, I don't see why the doctor, because obviously the doctor is so beloved, I don't necessarily see why the doctor should change into a female doctor, but I have no trouble with there being spin-offs with strong women. If there were a River spin-off, there was a Captain Jack, Torchwood. You can bring in, why change a character to satisfy a group in society that absolutely are not represented in the way that they should be in film and television, but just create a new character. We have River Song, what an amazing character she is and has been created by a man, weirdly. But we do need more women writers who are visible, and we do definitely need more female characters and really strong, female role models, absolutely.
Have you had to turn down some great opportunities, but because you felt like that doesn't, I don't want to represent that type of character, wait for the right role to come along? Have you been in that position?
I've only been, when I was younger, when I was at drama school and just leaving drama school, I never got to play the ingenue roles. I always thought I would, but I was so frustrated because I'd never play the Juliets or the Ophelias, or they didn't come my way, and I couldn't understand why. But I think it's because I was probably just too strong, too physically too strong. Not that I think those characters have to be weak, actually, but it's sort of like the weird mindset that very often directors have of how this female character should be, which I don't necessarily really agree with, but it seems to be, again, the way it is. No, the only time I really turned something down because I was not comfortable with the character was actually, it was a Law and Order SVU, and I was offered a role in which I was playing, the character was I think she was the headmistress of a school, or she was a teacher in the school, and she was a paedophile. And I had just had a child, my daughter was very youngster, and I just was like, I just can't do it, really no. But other than that, I'm happy to go and play dark. In fact, it's great fun, and the English are always cast as villains, but there are some roles that I just won't do.
Thank you. Yes.
You
Alice.
asked one of my questions, Tony. I hope you're happy. Hi.
Sorry.
So, first off, if anyone hasn't seen the Christmas episode, well, spoilers. But the first episode I ever watched was Let's Kill Hitler, so I was really looking forward to you, and then, I got you when I finally started watching it, and then I was like, just waiting, I was like, he never gave her the screwdriver. When are we going to get the screwdriver? And then Christmas. How did it feel for you coming back with Capaldi and getting that screwdriver and realizing that you just kind of came full circle to your very beginning and
It was actually quite tough to do. It was very emotional, and I had to really hold it together because I don't think Peter fully appreciated. I mean, maybe he did, but I don't know whether he really fully appreciated what that moment meant for me, because I worked with Matt and with David, and so for me it was such a big moment, and opening that box and seeing it, and it was in fact they couldn't find my original screwdriver. They couldn't find. We thought it was in the Doctor Who museum, the Doctor Who Experience in Wales, because that's where all my costumes and things are held, and it had disappeared. So, and they tracked down the original props master, and he didn't have it, so it had literally disappeared. So they had to recreate my screwdriver. But it was not easy for me, because of course, I don't know. But of course I do know, if you know what I mean. So,
it wasn't easy for fans either.
No. But one night in delirium is 24 years. Just saying.
We only have a couple minutes left, but I don't want to miss over. You have a sort of a dotted line to Arthur through Legends of Tomorrow because of your role on Arrow.
Yes.
Dinah, Lance, the mother of three girls. What was that experience like being on Arrow and just being in that universe?
It's great. I mean, everybody on that show is really lovely. Stephen Amell is amazing. He's a fantastic sort of lead, not only in his capacity as an actual actor, but in terms of just keeping the group together. He's really, really good, professional. John, it's crazy. I keep seeing him, but we don't actually have any scenes together yet, which drives me crazy. Paul Blackthorne, who is Quentin, my ex-husband, he was one of my boyfriends on ER. So we go way back, actually. And yes, I mean, it would be great if Dinah Lance turned up on the spaceship, or whatever it is, that Sarah is now sipping. It's what? Wave Rider. Come on, I've got to turn up on the Wave Rider. It would be great, yeah.
Well, you're a heroine and you're giving birth to heroines. So everything you're doing is amazing. So, last question, go ahead.
All right, this is kind of random, but I was just wondering, Marvel or DC, which superhero would you like to portray in a movie or TV series?
Oh God, I don't know enough of the Marvel DC characters, I don't think.
Well, how about a superpower you'd like to portray? Something like that.
There you go.
A superpower, I think, would be happiness. I'd like to sort of be able to look at somebody and they would immediately be happy.
You'd like to be a unicorn, right?
A unicorn. Yeah,